Hey guys, welcome back to my sewing room. I'm Kelly and you found me here on Pick and Stitches, and today we're going to be wrapping up this quilt. We did this quilt a couple weeks back. It was a great free pattern. I'll go ahead and relink the description here. And I made this with the fat quarter bundle from Connecting Threads. I really love this Summer Jubilee fat quarter bundle. I did need to add one fat quarter to it, but the rest of it all came in the kit and I love it. So we're going to get the binding on. I'm going to show you the quilting I did and the label. All right, so I'm finally getting around to putting the binding on this beautiful quilt. We got the fabric from Connecting Threads. This is the Jubilee fat quarter bundle that we made, and this was a free pattern. I'll go ahead and link that below for you guys, and the and the fat quarter bundle. And I'm just going to go ahead and just attach my binding. You can see I kind of did this wavy pattern into the front of the quilt that just kind of gives it a little bit of movement, a little bit of a nod towards all this red, white, and blue. This is going to be a donation quilt, and I certainly love getting to share my passion with other people. So I'm going to just start on the back. Going to change out my bobbin thread. So I've got my 1/4 inch foot that has the little ledge on the end or guide. And I'm just going to align my tail, leave myself some room. And I'm going to sew it on from the back side first. And I have been putting my binding up top. That was a suggestion by one of my beautiful fans, but this one's a little too fat and it won't fit up there. So this is a big quilt. And we're just doing a scrappy binding. This is all of the fabrics that I had on the front of this quilt that I have taken what was left in the pattern. It actually has you cut it out as you're going, I think. And so I basically don't have any scraps from this quilt. This is so awesome. I love it. And this backing that I chose to do is a 108, also from Connecting Threads. I love it when I don't have to put a seam anywhere and I don't have a ton of extra fabric, especially for these big ones. I want to say this was 2 1/4 yards, and I think I probably would have had to have like 7 yards if I had done a typical 40 inch. Okay, so when I get to 1/4 inch away, I'm going to stop, pivot my work, and then I'm going to reverse off the fabric and then just cut my thread. Now, I did not starch this fabric very heavily, so I've got some loose threads this time, but that's okay. Now we're going to take this and fold it straight up. We want it to be a straight line, even with this other edge and perpendicular to this top edge. And then we're going to fold it straight back down. And then off we go. Simple as that. We'll go down all of our sides here, making that adjustment in each corner. And I am kind of taking a look to see how I'm liking this white thread on my binding. Since it's scrappy, I know I'm going to see it on some of the colors and not on some of the others. So I'm just making sure that I like it on the ones that it's showing up on. This is always where I get nervous. I feel like my roll is getting too small too fast, but hopefully I will have enough. This is actually out of Blueberry Delight, but I needed one more fat quarter for this pattern. Everything else was from this Jubilee line, and I think it's really pretty. Really like that one. And there's a blue like it too. Just a cute cross out. I almost sewed to the end. I almost always put a pin in it and I totally forgot. Okay. So I had plenty left. Look at me. I was worried about it for nothing. Now I'm going to have to cut a bunch of 2-inch squares. Okay. So since that transitioned there, probably just going to snip it right here. And then I was always kind of intimidated by the joins when I first started making quilts, but it's really pretty straightforward. I'm going to back a couple of these stitches out because I sewed too far. Just like to have plenty of room to join. All right, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to overlap my two pieces here. And I want them to overlap only by 1/4 of an inch. So if you have too much fabric in here or you don't sew an exact 1/4 of an inch seam, then you're going to have too much fabric left over. So I'm just going to snip it with a 1/4 of an inch overlap. And then we're going to put these two, get all these threads since I backed out some stitches. We're going to put these two right side together, so you kind of have to fold your quilt up. Ah! And then we'll sew it down. And I'm just going to finger press it, so I don't have to go over to the machine. I'm going to fold it open. Now you want to do this on something hard, not actually on your quilt, because it won't flatten as well. All right, and then we'll fold it back together. And pick up, I'm going to start a little bit before where I ripped some of those stitches out. Okay, so I do like to take this to the ironing board and press it open all the way around, and then I'll fold it around and I'll use Wonder Clips to hold it where I want it, and then we'll come back and we'll sew the other side on. Okay, now I'm just going to switch out to this left compensating foot. I really like to use this to put on binding. I can put a link in the description for you if you have the same Juki sewing machine as I do, because it just makes everything so fast and easy. All right, now I have Wonder Clipped this all the way around, so it should be pretty straightforward. We're just going to start stitching it down. I have blue thread in my bobbin to match the backing, and I have a white thread to go in the top. And I am a complete cheater, and I'm going to machine bind this whole thing, so if that makes you cringe, feel free to skip to the next tutorial. So I've got everything kind of lined up. I've got my mitered corners put together, and I'm just going to drop this. I'm at a 2 on my stitch length. And I'm going to back stitch a couple, and we go. So this toe they're both spring loaded, and I've got one sitting just inside the quilt and one on the binding. And then we just pivot our work. If I find any loose threads like that, I'm going to either clip them off or tuck them into the binding so that they don't poke out. Okay, guys, I think it turned out super cute. Yeah, I think that binding looks really good. The backing looks great with all the different colors of the binding. It definitely worked out perfectly. And I think it's super cute. So I'll get you guys some pictures of it up on the design wall. Okay, guys, so that's a wrap on this quilt. I hope you had as much fun as I did. I definitely enjoyed all this fabric from connecting threads. And then we also had this 108 backing, which made it incredibly efficient to make our entire quilt. I did put our charity label over here on this corner. I didn't do anything super fancy this time. I just framed it out and added it to the back. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this tutorial. If you like watching my tutorials or my unboxing videos, definitely hit that like and subscribe button. It helps me out a ton. And until then, I will see you guys next time.